I learned how to make gefilte fish about 10 years ago because my mother-in-law, who had been making it for years, became too old and stopped making it. The family didn't like commercial gefilte fish, so I learned how to make it. My gefilte fish has 3 different kinds of fish: whitefish, pike, and carp. No one has ever tasted my gefilte fish and said they didn't like it. First, we peel the onions to put in the pot to make a fish stock for the gefilte fish. Now we're going to slice up some onions that we're putting in the bottom of the pot to make the fish stock. Now we're going to peel and slice carrots to put on top of each slice of fish. Now we're going to add to the onions in the pot 40 ounces of water. After adding the water, we will add 4 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper. Now we will add the fish heads and bones. A professional chef who has his own grinder would purchase the fish from the fish market and grind this himself. But since I'm not a professional chef, I go to a good fish store and they grind the fish and the onions for me. The one disadvantage in having someone else do it for you is that some of the fish remains on the bones and you waste some fish. If I had my own grinder, I could take all the fish off the bone, better than the fish store, and maybe get another couple of fish cakes from it. So I probably lose a fish cake and a half. Now we're going to bring the water and bones to a boil and let it simmer while we beat the fish in preparation of making the gefilte fish. We're taking the ground up fish from the fish store and emptying it into this bowl. I'm making a well in the middle of the fish so that I can add the seasoning and the matzo meal and egg. Okay, the fish requires 2 eggs, and to that I will add five and a quarter teaspoons of salt, when measuring seasoning it should be a flat measure. After mixing up the salt and pepper, we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of sugar. And mix that up too. All right, I'm pouring the egg mixture into the fish. Then I add 2 tablespoons of matzo meal. I'm going to now put the ice water in the fish and then begin to beat the fish. We put the onions in last because they have the most moisture and we don't want the fish to get too watery before we start mixing it. Now we do the most tedious part, beating the fish for 20 minutes before we make it into fish cakes. Now that we're through beating the fish, we're going to make them into small fish cakes and place them in the stock that has been cooking while we were beating the fish. After putting the first layer of fish cakes on top of the stock in the pot, you place a carrot on top of each fish cake. Then you put the lid on the pot and let it cook for a minute or two until the fish cakes turn white. When they turn white, you put the second layer of fish cakes on and keep repeating the process until you have no more fish. Okay. Now this was the last layer that went on. We're covering the pot and cooking it for an hour and a half. Now that the fish has cooked, we're putting it away in containers.
By the time he called,
So Marcia, you really made this like from
Somebody's
scratch?
spying on me
From
while
some
I'm
kind of
eating.
fish?
Whitefish, pike, and carp.